afternoon.
Good afternoon.
May it please the court, Lynn for the state of California. The lengthy investigation process, along with the fact that the respondent felt that he could not rid himself of suspicion of the police, made the respondent frustrated. His statement of, "I don't want to talk no more," was an expression of this frustration, not an invocation of his right to remain silent. The wider context of what he then immediately went on to say indicates his annoyance that the police were not believing what he was saying, and the fact that he was willing to talk to the police in continuation after he said that.
Is it possible that you can be both frustrated and also intend to terminate the interrogation? And that's one thing that I'm interested in, is are they really mutually exclusive?
I think that it's very possible that you can be both frustrated and want to terminate. However, our respondent, is a 19-year-old who has finished high school, is able to hold down a job, and was able to very clearly indicate that he understood his rights when they were read to him. I think that he is very capable of clearly indicating that he would like to invoke his right to remain silent, as well as that he's frustrated. And I think that if he was trying to invoke his right to remain silent, he would have been able to clearly indicate that. The interview in which the defendant made this statement lasted for 2 to 3 hours. In the duration of this interview, the detective didn't believe the respondent's story, and he changed his narrative twice in an attempt to get the police to believe him. The defendant went from claiming to have no part whatsoever in the crime, to claiming that he was forced at gunpoint to drive the actual assailant to the scene of the crime. Additionally, in Smith v. Illinois, the Supreme Court ruled that context is addressed to the relevance of alleged ambiguities or equivocations that are part of the request itself. I believe that his further statement of "you don't want to hear what I'm saying" is part of that ambiguity, and because it came immediately after his initial request, is part of that request and should be considered within context.
Is that the test, that if it comes immediately after we can consider it, or is it the case that when there is an invocation, the questioning has to cease altogether, and any statements made afterwards must necessarily be the product of compulsion?
So within Smith v. Illinois, the case which actually occurred was one in which there was no ambiguity in the request for counsel. However, in this situation, there is ambiguity in that initial statement, and it is up to the discretion of the police, using the context surrounding that statement, to decide whether the rest of it is something which was said under invocation or not. The detectives in our situation decided that, given the context, after the very ambiguous initial statement, that there was no invocation of this right. When the defendant had been at this place for 3 hours, he was growing very tired of being there. He had changed his story twice in the attempt to say something plausible so he would be believed, and yet he was not being believed. He could see that things were not going his way. Realizing that he wasn't fooling anyone, he grew frustrated. If they would just believe him, he could go home having proven his innocence. "You don't want to hear what I have to say." This is the exclamation of someone exasperated that their story wasn't fooling anyone. The explanation of someone trying their hardest to sell their case unsuccessfully. This exclamation was made immediately after that initial statement. In fact, the respondent even interrupted Detective Jolivet in making it, in his haste to add it.
Well, shouldn't the detective and arguably have just not said anything at all, which is to say the detectives, upon hearing the statement, should have just packed up their bags and left the room, instead of even trying to say anything additional to the suspect?
No, the Miranda rights state that interrogation must cease. However, there is no indication that Detective Jolivet was going to continue interrogating the respondent. He was not even able to finish his sentence before he was interrupted by the respondent. The exclamation which was made subsequently after "I don't want to talk no more" is vital to truly understanding what the defendant meant when he made his initial statement. Because the subsequent statement was made immediately after the defendant's initial statement, it should be counted as part of this initial statement, which therefore must be considered when evaluating what the meaning behind the defendant's initial statement was.
Thank you very much. Respond whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
May it please the court. My name is Eduardo Alejandro, representing Kevin Jones. We affirm that the Ninth Circuit court decision in the case of Jones v. Harrington. Jones clearly and unambiguously invoked his right to remain silent. As such, anything stated after his invocation, "I don't want to talk no more, man," should not have been used in court. Under EDPA, an application for writ of habeas corpus can only be granted if the merits in state court proceedings resulted in a decision that is contrary to or involved unreasonable application of clearly established federal law. The California Court of Appeals unreasonably applied clearly established law in Miranda v. Arizona. In Miranda, the Supreme Court clearly states, when the suspect invokes his right to remain silent, in any manner, at any point, interrogation must cease.
So let me stop you there, because I agree with you, that's what Miranda says. But we still have this issue of whether there was actually an ongoing interrogation just in the few lines after the invocation. So Jones says, "I don't want to talk to no more, man." And then the detective says, "I understand that, but the bottom line is," and he's cut off with the Jones saying, "You don't want to hear what I'm telling you." And so it's that sort of, those few lines that the trial court looked at to find the ambiguity that it found. And it doesn't appear as though there's a question there. So can we fairly say that the officers actually continued to interrogate him?
So, prior to invocation, the investigators said, "Why don't you stop this man?" Which Jones responded, "All right." So Jones was ready to stop and properly followed with, "I don't want to talk no more, man." And the interrogator responded with, "I understand that," which is interpreted as he understood that Jones invoked his right to remain silent, and yet continued to question following those statements. This is an error well understood and comprehended in existing law. Jones clearly invoked his right to remain silent. Miranda found that the right to counsel and the right to remain silent were essential to balance the pressures inherent to in-custodial interrogation. Between 9 to 9:40 p.m., Jones was held in custody 3 hours prior to interrogation and faced an additional 2 to 3 hours of interrogation. That's a total of 5 hours.
So if you're correct that what he really intended to do was invoke his right to remain silent, why didn't he continue to invoke that right? And should we be able to look at that fact here, which is to say he didn't say, "No, I said I'm not going to talk to you anymore." he did actually keep talking, and so can we review that as part of our assessment here?
So we cannot review that because on top of being held in custody and interrogated for a total of 5 hours, he also stated that he was cold 3 separate times. So with the length of the interrogation and the physical discomfort and the continuous bashing from police that they had incriminating evidence, his post-invocation statements were all products of coercion.
Thank you, counsel. Good timing.
All right.
Good job, guys.
Well done.